Hello my dear students, welcome back to your social studies class. Now today students, we will continue with the explanation of chapter number 16, First War of Independence. Now the topics which we will discuss today are on the board. Let's look at the topics. Ruling the Empire, First War of Independence, Revolt of 1857. These are the three topics. Now, in these three topics, there are many points which I will discuss one by one. Let's start. Now, first is ruling the empire. Now, in order to rule an empire, what is the preliminary thing which you require? Obviously, it is funds. So, when the British took control of India, they needed a plan to run it. Now, in order to run a country like India, they wanted funds, they wanted revenue. So, they framed laws and policies, okay, and planned the land revenue system so that how can they get revenue from the common masses and the rulers or the kings present at that time. They also established the army, police, bureaucracy and judiciary. Now they established all these units so that they could judiciously run this country and run it for a long time. Now, First War of Independence. Now, the company rule was unjust and oppressive. Now, why did the First War of Independence crop up? If the company ruled nicely, thinking about the interests of the people, then obviously people wouldn't have revolted against them. But they were oppressive and they were unjust because they thought of their own needs and of their own benefits. So that is why the people of India, after a certain time, they started protesting against the Britishers. Now, the company rule was unjust and oppressive. The British had introduced laws meant only for their benefit. Many Indian rulers felt cheated. Why they felt cheated? Because the Britishers, by framing rules and laws and policies, they snatched their territories. So they felt cheated because of the subsidiary alliance and the doctrine of lapse, which we have discussed in the last video. Now, the British land revenue policies, what did it do? It forced the farmers to grow cash crops. Okay? And that also for poor returns. That means they didn't get much money out of growing cash crops. And slowly and steadily, the fertility of the land was also, it was depleting. So, because of the continuous growth of cash crops, what happened? India faced the harshest famines in Indian history. Okay? This resulted in the harshest famines in Indian history. It also blocked the growth of modern industries in India. Now we all know, in order to make a country developed, we need industries because the industries will pave the way for the development of a country. The growth of more industries will pave the way for the growth and the economic growth of a country. Okay. So, what did the Britishers do? They blocked the growth of modern industries in India. And this hampered and also they hampered the industries of Indian handicrafts and cotton textile, because these industries were running smoothly, but because of their rule, they, by making schemes and policies, they affected the growth of these industries, and Indian handicrafts were worldwide famous. So it hampered these industries and they were badly affected. Now, an unrest among Indians grew. Obviously, Indians were getting agitated because of these rules, these policies. Okay. Now, they protested against the British rule. Now, they didn't keep quiet. Finally, they started protesting against the British rule. So, protest movements occurred throughout the 19th century. Now, protest movements, they occurred throughout the 19th century, and from every nook and corner of the country, people started protesting against the British rule because it was unjust, it was unfair, and it didn't look into the mere requirements of the common masses. Okay. Now, some of the important movements or some of the important protests were the Santhal Rebellion 1855, Indigo Rebellion 1859, Pabna Uprising 1873, and the Deccan Riots, that is 1875. Remember these movements or these rebellion with the year mentioned. Okay. Now, we will go straight away to the revolt of 1857 because that was the turning point in the Indian history. Now, the revolt of 1857 marked a watershed in our colonial history. So, what is the meaning of watershed? An event marking a turning point in a situation. So, it was a turning point in Indian history, and everybody still remember this revolt because for the first time the Britishers got a serious jolt from the Indians, and it was very difficult for them to control this rebellion. Now, the revolt of 1857 marked a watershed in our colonial history. It posed a serious challenge to the British Raj. Now, they have to just rack their brains, they have to think hard how to control this rebellion. Though there was general resentment among the British, the immediate cause of the revolt was the introduction of the Enfield rifles. So, though there was general resentment against the British, obviously the revolt of 1857 was a revolt against the British rule, and they were affected a bit, and the effect or the immediate cause of this revolt was the introduction of the Enfield rifles. Now, let's move forward. Okay. Now, students, now people were slowly showing their protest against the British rule, that is, they were not happy with the rule of the Britishers. Rumors spread among soldiers in Calcutta that the cartridges, that is the cartridges which were used in the rifles of this rifle, were greased with animal fat. And we know that both the Hindus and the Muslims, they worship animals, yes, like cows and all. So, it was a emotional setback for them. Okay. And we know that culturally and religiously India has a rich heritage. So, if somewhere or some part, it affected their sentiments. Now, this hurt the religious sentiments of the Hindu and Muslim soldiers alike. Both were affected by this. On 29 March 1857, Mangal Pandey, a soldier in Barakpur near Calcutta, refused to use the cartridges. Now, he first protested and told that he will not use the cartridges because it somehow affected his religious sentiment. As a result, he was executed. That is, he was killed. This triggered his comrades to revolt against the British. Now, his comrades, they thought that, oh, because these Britishers, we told them that it is affecting our religious sentiment, they executed our friend. So, we have to revolt against this thing. Now, they revolted. Okay. Later, on 10th May 1857, a revolt broke out among soldiers in Meerut. Next, a revolt broke out among soldiers in Meerut. They marched to Red Fort in Delhi and declared Bahadur Shah Zafar, the Mughal emperor, as their king. Now, they declared that Bahadur Shah Zafar, the Mughal emperor, was their king and they will be under his guidance. Soon after, the rebellion spread to Kanpur, Agra, Allahabad and many places in north and central India. Now, together they started to protest against the British rule and this policy. Then onwards, the revolt no longer remained a sepoy or a soldier's mutiny. So it no longer remained as a sepoy or a soldier's mutiny, because the country together, they stood up and they contributed their portion, or they started to revolt together. Deposed rulers, that is, who were removed from office suddenly without any reason, they also joined the revolt, because many lost their kingdoms, mainly under the doctrine of lapse. Some leaders of the revolt were, let's know the names: Nana Fadnavis, Tatya Tope, Bhakt Khan, Begum Hazrat Mahal, and Rani Lakshmibai. Rich landlords and talukdars, that is the people who were rich, that is the landlords who were rich, and the talukdars, they of Awadh, they also joined the revolt, because they too lost their lands to the British. Okay, so slowly and steadily everybody started to join the revolt. Poor peasants also revolted. Why the poor peasants also revolted or rebelled? Because they bore the brunt of huge taxes, that is, they were the main people who were affected by the huge amount of taxes levied on them. The British used great force to suppress the revolt. Now, it took great force by the Britishers, or the British Raj, to suppress this revolt. Okay, because everybody from every nook and corner of the country, they started to join the revolt. The revolt ultimately ended when Bahadur Shah Zafar was exiled to Rangoon. That is, he was exiled to Rangoon, now Yangon in Myanmar. This brought the Mughal dynasty to its end. Finally, the Mughal dynasty came to its end. Okay. However, the revolt left a lasting impact on the British rule. Now, this revolt left a lasting impact on the British rule. Why? Because they got a great setback from the Indians for the first time, and that also collectively. In 1858, the Queen's proclamation brought India directly under the British crown. That is, Lord Canning, he sent forth the royal proclamation which announced that the Queen had assumed the government of India. Okay, the revolt of 1857 was referred to as Sepoy Mutiny by the Britishers, because they demeaned it. But actually it was not a Sepoy Mutiny. This was the first time when Indians collectively, they revolted against the Britishers. Okay, because they considered it to be a rebellion by a group of miscreants. Miscreants means criminals or culprits. Indian national leaders, however, called it the first war of independence. But for Indian national leaders, it was the first war of independence. They cherished its memory as a fight for freedom from the British rule. They cherished the memory of this revolt as a fight for the freedom from the British autocratic rule, where they didn't take into concern the needs of the masses. They celebrated its leaders as martyrs of freedom struggle. Okay, students, so we have understood how the leaders of India, they collectively revolted against the Britishers to show them that they will not tolerate any unjust or unfair policies of them. So this was the explanation of the chapter. I have given you a complete explanation of the chapter. I hope you have liked this chapter. I will meet you again in the next class. Till then, goodbye everyone. Stay at home and be safe and study the chapter. Thank you everyone.